welcome to another video blog from mental health carer Matthew McKenzie from the London Borough of Lewisham. Now, I tend to do blogs every now and again off my website called caringmindblog.com. So feel free to check that out when you can. It has lots of interesting views and updates on mental health events, psychology, psychiatry, the community, and so on. Now, on this video, I want to talk about communication. What I mean is the importance of communication when you are a family having to provide support for someone using the health services. Perhaps I should say on this instance, the mental health services. So let's break this down to as simple points as I can when we can define the roles of those regarding communication. First would be, perhaps I'd say, the patient or the service user. And this would be perhaps the person who is unfortunately suffering mental ill health. Now, they need support in how they can be cared for, or how they can carry out their own care, what package they will get from the mental health services or health services, support in communicating their distress, access to support, and sustaining major relationships within their family or community. The next role would be perhaps the health professional or mental health professional, and their role from my carer's perspective is to work with those who are using that service or the service user, or we could say the person working with persons who have lived experience on dealing with mental distress. Now, this could be through medication, could be through therapy, could be through referrals to other services. The health professional's role could also draw up a care plan or agreed care plan between those who are using that service, looking into the situation of sustaining physical and mental health well-being, which must be maintained at very high levels. Last but not least, we have the carer role. Now, the carer's role is to try and support and care for the person suffering ill health. And this is usually a family member, a friend, or at least someone close. Now, remember, what I mean by a carer is someone who is unpaid to provide that care. Most care out of emotional bond to their loved one or friend. So there we have it, all three roles defined to, I'd say, a basic sort of sense. And that would be the patient or the service user, the mental health professional, or the family member or carer. But what will help to achieve the best support available for the patient, and what would keep the mental health professional satisfied that they are setting out that service, setting out that standard of service, and what would keep the carer happy? Well, first let's look at the problem regarding the situations if communication is not kept up to a certain standard. And here's a list here. Basically, if there's a problem, if only the patient and the mental health professional are just in line of communicating and the carer is perhaps left out, the patient's health does have a risk of declining because not all the facts or all the views have been taken into account from the carer. You could have a situation where the carer complains because they feel shut out. An incident occurs and people actually ask, why has no one spoken to the carer or the family? Another one is the carer cannot carry out their caring role because they do not know what is expected of them, and they are not sure how to speak to the patient, and they have difficulty speaking to the mental health professional. And one of the last difficult situations is relationships within that family or within that caring role actually breaks down, and the patient risks isolation and declining ill health. Now, a breakdown in communication does not always have to occur when the carer does not get involved in communicating between the patient or the doctor, that being the mental health professional. This can also occur if there is if the health professional actually communicates more to the carer, or perhaps the patient and the carer are upset with the health services and back off from them. Hence, the mental health professional cannot provide their level of views regarding a care plan or what they feel would be best for the patient. And this could also be affected by stigma, which is mental health stigma, where we could say that the patient or even the carer feels some shame regarding what the patient is going through, and this can also be the same from a carer, who they feel shame on themselves regarding their wrong. So what we need, looking at these levels of communication, is actually a balance, and there are times, I would say, within the mental health services where confidentiality is needed to protect the patient. But this can be the same for the carer. Don't forget, carers need confidentiality as well. And also the health professional. After all, they have signed an oath, and this is to protect what information is going out, because it is at risk where someone can suffer consequences if information was passed out without an agreement. But all too often, I'm afraid to say this, that history has shown that families and carers can be not listened to, and incidents occur where the patient is at risk, or worse, comes to harm. So from a carer's perspective, I feel when it comes to communication, all parties should get their chance to be heard, involved, and we should be able to make a care plan or package together. Because we all should have the same targets in mind, and that is to improve and sustain the health of those who use the mental health services, and to keep the family relationship going. So okay, it might seem easy to do this, basically, but how can levels of such communications be maintained? Well, there are policies being developed or have been developed by mental health services, e.g. hospitals and community teams. But there are also policies and strategies that can help in communication where protection can actually be placed on the family. Please note I'm saying the family. I hope to do more on this later, but this video is mainly looking at why I feel communication is important. So I hope to see you again soon, and thank you for watching this video.